make sure to turn off your camera, or though it shouldn't show you once we do the speaker view. Great. Let's get started, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome. My name is Elizabeth Ward. I'm the chapter director here at the Sierra Club Wisconsin chapter. Our office is located in Madison, which is the traditional land of the Ho-Chunk people. I'm going to encourage you, if you are not speaking, mute yourself. Great. Well, again, thank you all for being here. I'm excited you could join us. Tonight is a night of celebration. We have so much to celebrate, whether it's the fantastic weather outside, the grassroots activism that has led to so many victories already, and it's only May 1st, or all of you who took an hour out of this beautiful day to join us tonight. Thank you for being here and celebrating with us. They only gave me 2 minutes to speak, which is not enough time to go over all of the great things we have to celebrate this year. So I just have some examples up here on your screen. We'll talk a little bit more about some of these in our program tonight, or we can chat about them in the chat. We've seen this year steps taken to protect Wisconsin's wolves, to stop new fossil fuel infrastructure, build more solar. We've seen new rules that protect our air, and so much more. So tonight is definitely a good night to celebrate. We celebrate the grassroots advocacy that makes these victories possible. We're also here tonight to spotlight 5 businesses. We're excited to be able to give them a platform to talk about their actions and to share how it's connected to our work. But we would never have been able to share their stories without the support of our sponsors. Many of these sponsors have been with us since the beginning of the program, when it was first created by Liz Wessel and Carol Terrell. We are so appreciative of all of our sponsors, both longtime and new, as these efforts continue to support our work. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our MCs tonight, Megan Pierce and Amy Mueller, but I want to tell you a bit about each of them first. Megan has been a member of our COOL team for almost 5 years and received the New Activist Award in 2021. Megan continues to be part of the victories you saw on the screen a minute ago. She plays a pivotal role in securing the retirement of Wisconsin's remaining coal plants and protecting the net metering benefits for solar customers. And our other MC, Amy, deserves so much celebration for today. The idea to re-envision our locally grown program to spotlight multiple sustainable businesses from across the state instead of just one was Amy's. Amy didn't just come up with the great idea, but also put the idea into motion, seeing tonight's program to completion. When she's not putting her efforts into these great programs, she's advocating for beavers and wolves as part of our wildlife team, leading the past 3 years Wolf Awareness Week and serving on our executive committee. Thank you to both of you. Excited for you both to take it away.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that great start, Elizabeth. Glad everyone could join us on this beautiful night. We have a really special evening planned and can't wait to kick off kind of our tour or our journey around the state together. I'm coming to you from the Southern Kettle Moraine State Forest area of Western Waukesha County, the traditional lands of the Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, as well as Sauk and Fox.
And hello, everyone. I am Megan, and thank you, Elizabeth, for the introduction. I'm located in Sauk City, the traditional lands of the Ho-Chunk people. I'd love to know where everyone is joining us from tonight. So if you're able, please, let's go to the chat and have everyone type where you're joining us from this evening. And we'll add a link in the chat in case you want to look up whose lands you're occupying.
We'll give you a moment to do that. All right, Madison and Milwaukee, well represented.
Stoughton, Green Bay.
Oh, good to see some folks from northern Wisconsin. Racine, there's La Crosse. Cool.
Yeah, Verona. Kenosha, too.
Wonderful. Well, it's good to see all of these places from all over, because that's really where our journey is going to take us. We're going to be a little bit in southern and northern and anywhere in between. So thank you all for your time and for being here. And please stay engaged with us in the chat. That it makes it, I think, more interactive and fun for everyone. And as those locations continue to filter in, I'll keep rolling here. As Elizabeth mentioned, for better or for worse, I'm excited about this new format. I had kind of dreamed this up on a winter's hike, and I thought maybe we could mix things up and spotlight all of the good things that we have going that align with our work. I don't know if you're like me, but in our world today, to stay hopeful and optimistic, being reminded of the good things that are going right here immediately around us is really restorative. So I hope it is as we had envisioned for you tonight. So with that, we all have a role to play in protecting the environment. Tonight, we're going to hear from 5 individuals who do their part to make the world a better place, and their businesses and how that connects to our work in the Sierra Club. We also want to use this opportunity to raise some funds that align with our work in the chapter. And we have set a goal of $10,000 for this event. And thanks to our amazing sponsors, we are within sight of that tonight. Tonight, we are hoping to raise an additional $1,035. So hopefully with everyone here in this wonderful giving community, we can attain that.
Yes, we are so close, and with a little help from all of you tonight, I know we can hit this goal. Very exciting. And if you'd like to make a donation during the event, you can do so on our fundraising page. We'll be sharing the link in the chat throughout the evening, and there is an extra perk for making a donation using that link tonight. All donors to this event will receive a special collection of recipes, so it's going to be super awesome.
Yeah, I got a sneak peek at the recipe book. It looks great. So hopefully you're able to take advantage and getting that. It should be well worth it. So with your donation tonight, you can just navigate over. The link is in the chat. Also, additional information on our businesses that we're featuring will be there as well. So that's kind of the one-stop shop. Beyond the fun with the videos and featuring our work, we're also going to test your trivia skills and play for a little bit of pride points. So here is how this will work. We're going to do a couple rounds, and there'll be 2 or 3 questions each round. Essentially, I'll ask the first question. You'll see a poll pop up on your screen. If you don't see it, you should hit the 3 dots on the menu bar and select polls. Hopefully that would do it. But don't be shy. No one will know what your answer was except for you. So again, playing against yourself for pride points. It'll be fun to know how we do as a group overall. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. So again, no pressure. It's just for fun. And once it looks like we have a good chunk of answers, we're able to display the results immediately and see how we all did. So it goes pretty quick. So let's warm up together. Let's give this a shot. And if technology plays along, let's start with our first trivia question of the night. So here it is. I see it on my screen. Hopefully you do as well. And the first question: the oldest living tree is over 5,600 years old. Where can you find it? Maybe some of you have even been to it. This one surprised me a little bit. Got some answers trickling in.
Yeah, we're getting a good amount of people getting it in there.
All right, we'll do the last few seconds here. All right, why don't we see how we did? Looks like the favorite was the White Mountains of California. Let's see what the answer was. Maybe. Let's try that one. Can we show the results? Maybe. I don't know. Well, how about this? I know what the answer is. And the answer is California. So if you answered that, you were correct. The 54% of our group had it right. So I think that's job well done. The oldest tree in the world is a bristlecone pine, and that's even older than the pyramids that the Egyptians built. So that's pretty cool. So let's end that poll officially. And let's see if we can go. Megan, I'll have you go for question number 2.
Yeah. But way to go, everyone, because you
There we
did
go.
pretty well on that last one. But let's see how you do here. In the 5 most recent extreme weather events, this form of electricity failed the most. Is it wind power, coal, batteries, or gas? Getting people answering. Exciting.
Not as much consensus, though.
Oh, you're right. It's a tricky one.
We're spread out a little bit more on this one.
Mhm. Almost everyone's gotten in there.
Mhm. Looks like the favorite's coal, but not by much.
Followed close by gas. Well, let's maybe end our poll for this. And the answer, drum roll, the answer is gas. Gas plants accounted for most of the failed, indicating they are more susceptible to extreme winter weather than are any other resource types. And if people are wanting to share about pride points that we talked about, if you want to put in the chat, if you were like, yeah, I got that one, or what you thought was most interesting on those questions, or if you learned something, that would be exciting to share.
Yeah, I like the comment. Turns out life isn't such a gas. Very cool. Well, and hopefully everybody, the technology went smoothly, even if you didn't get the right answer. So we're getting warmed up here, and now you kind of know how that we're going to do at least one more round of that, and we'll see how we go. Absolutely. Rich is right. Texas had some major issues with those storms. So very cool. All right. Cool. Well, it looks like we are rolling on, and the fundraising is rolling in as well. So thank you for the generosity. It looks like we're inching our way forward. But if you haven't gotten a chance to switch over to that page, again, thank you so much. But again, appreciate all gift sizes are welcome. The link should be popping in the chat. If you have any problems finding that, let us know. Let's see. You're going to want to make sure though, when you get back from the donation page, to get ready for our next segment. So I'm going to turn it back to Elizabeth to talk about our first featured guest.
Thanks, Amy. Hello again. I got the honor of interviewing our first special guest. So I'm going to introduce you to them all. His name and the business we're featuring is Glenn Carlson of Madeline Island Candles. He's a co-owner. I first became aware of Glenn when he testified as part of our campaign to shut down Line 5. Our campaign is multifaceted. The Line 5 pipeline, if you're not aware, is an aging oil pipeline that starts in Superior, goes through the Bad River Reservation just downstream of Lake Superior and into the Upper Peninsula. From there, it crosses the Straits of Mackinac and into the Lower Peninsula before making its way back into Canada. The pipeline threatens our Great Lakes and the drinking water of 42 million people who rely on it. Enbridge's continued operation of the pipeline ignores Bad River's tribal sovereignty, and the proposed reroute threatens additional waterways and would lock us into fossil fuel use for decades, something we know the science says our climate can't afford. We're working with partners on the ground to shut down Line 5 and support Bad River in their efforts to get Enbridge off their reservation. It was through that part of our work that I became familiar with Glenn and Madeline Island Candles. Glenn testified in support of Bad River's case and described the monumental impact to his business and all the businesses in the area if Line 5 were to rupture and poison Lake Superior. Through the interview, I was able to learn about that and more about the candle company. I actually have, let's see if I can do this without burning myself, one of their candles right here for our celebration tonight. They have a lot of really compelling fragrances. I spent a lot of time on their website after talking to him. I'm sure you will too. We have linked his website as well as websites for all of the guests and speakers on the Team Sierra page, so you can check them out after our program. So with that, without further ado, let's show the video. Glenn, I think I first became familiar with you and your company because you guys were outspoken in supporting the Bad River Band's efforts to remove the Line 5 pipeline from the reservation. Can you just share a little bit about what led you to take that stance, especially since it's a public stance?
We, being on Madeline Island, we're surrounded by Lake Superior, and we depend upon tourists who find Lake Superior to be one of the cleanest bodies of water around. If anything were to happen to that, such as an oil spill or oil leak from Line 5, it would probably be about a day before that oil reached the shores of Madeline Island. So that would be pretty devastating for us. I'm also the town chair here of the town here, and so I have a role that is also pretty broad in terms of protecting the overall island economy and the people here.
Can you share with us a little bit of the story of Madeline Island Candles, how you guys came to be, how you got into it?
When we moved to Madeline Island, my husband decided that he wanted to learn how to weave. And fortunately, we have an artist cooperative on the island that's been around for about 50 years called Woods Hall. And during the course of learning how to weave, he got recruited to their board of directors. And during his time on the board of directors, they had a strategic planning session talking about what they were going to do for the next 50 years. And they decided that they really needed some more products. They had a lot of pottery and weaving. What they didn't have were candles, strangely. And so we started making candles in our kitchen. And knowing that we had this ready-made distribution outlet at the artist cooperative, then started selling our candles there. It turned out very well, very popular. And so we outgrew the kitchen, we outgrew the house. We had to move a couple of times. And in 2014, we moved into this house across from the ferry landing where we are now.
Great. Can you share how you see the candle company's values aligning with kind of Sierra Club's values and our goals?
I don't know how many people realize, but about 98% of candles sold in the United States are made out of paraffin, which is an oil-based product. Our candles are made from natural soy wax and also beeswax. Puts us in a rather small group of candle makers. Also, we are very big on recycling. So we have one of our big sellers is a glass container, and we have a program where customers can bring the empty glass container back, and we will give them $2 towards their purchase of another candle. And then we will take and clean and wash those glass containers back in that kitchen that we started in, and reuse the glass containers for more candles. We also generate a fair amount of scrap wax. Something didn't work out. And also the scrap wax from cleaning the glass containers that we provide to an islander who uses that together with sawdust that her family creates in their firewood business. And she creates fire starters for the campgrounds on the island. So it really is a the two biggest inputs for us, the glass containers and the wax, we do totally recycle and reuse. It stays right here. So the carbon footprint is pretty minimal. And then, of course, we have our beeswax tapers in assorted colors. And of course, that's from the bees. And so I think from that standpoint, we also pay our employee. We have a couple of employees that we pay, I would say, much more than a living wage to. And so that's another aspect I think that's important for us.
Can you tell us what some of your best sellers are and other products that people love?
Sure. Well, our glass containers are our largest, our biggest seller, and they burn quite lovely and evenly. You don't get soot, you don't get sort of tunneling of the candles. The other big seller that we have are our travel tins. These are smaller. They work well if you're traveling. They also work well in rooms in your house or in a dorm or wherever. So I would say those are our two main sellers. And of course, people do like the fact it's so very hard to find colored taper candles of any sort, let alone ones that are made of beeswax. So we think we've got a bit of a niche with our various colors of beeswax tapers.
How can people support the shop and buy candles?
Sure. We have a website. We do a lot of shipping. It's MadelineIslandCandles.com. All of our glass containers and our tapers and our travel tins are all available on that website. I would say, though, I would encourage people to come to the island. We have our location is surrounded by beautiful gardens that we tend to that are actually, you can go onto our Instagram page, which you can reach from our website and see some of our gardens.
Is there anything else you want to add?
We just love to have this opportunity to talk about our business and about Madeline Island and how we do align with the values of the Sierra Club, and the entire island, frankly, is very environmentally conscious. I think largely because we are surrounded by this pristine body of water.
That's great.
Wow. Oh, that's such a beautiful location and cool story. And for my bird nerds out there, I think I spy a northern flicker on their logo. Confirm or deny in the chat if you think I'm right on that, but I think I am. But it was cool to see the beautiful waters of Lake Superior, and it's such a reminder of how precious that is in all our waters in Wisconsin, quite honestly. So, being mindful of that and thinking about how we responsibly use water sort of transitions us to our next feature. So let's hear from Cassie Steiner about our next guest and our work to protect our water.
Thanks so much, Amy. I had a really great time talking with Chef James at Just Veggies. It was great to hear about how a family crisis related to a cardiac emergency led Chef James into creating and making more accessible vegan food to people in the area, especially students and people who might have a challenge affording vegan produce or other meat substitutes. And it was really great to talk about the overlap with our work. Our lands and our water teams both advocate for conservation, but also protection of quality. So both the quality and the quantity of our water that's being protected is really important. So decreasing factory farming and related pollution, especially nitrate pollution, are some of our main focuses of our water team. And there's a water team virtual screening called The Smell of Money on May 30th. That's about factory farms. So vegan alternatives provide much more sustainable options to people who are looking for ways to decrease their carbon footprint, the amount of land use, the amount of pollution into the air and the water, and also amount of water use. So researchers at Oxford said that if everyone went vegan, global farmland could be reduced by 75%, which is the combination of the US, China, Australia, and the EU combined. If we used soy instead of animals, deforestation would fall by 94%. According to Dana Hunnis at the UCLA Sustainability, a plant-based diet can reduce water consumption by up to 50%. We also really care about local food options. So if you're able to eat locally, that also decreases waste, especially plastic waste, and transportation carbon emissions as well. So there's a big overlap in why having more vegetarian and vegan options are really important. And it was excellent to talk to Chef James about the work that he's doing here in Madison.
So I started in 2018. Mainly I just couldn't, I was vegetarian and I was turning vegan and I couldn't find me nothing to eat. So I started making food, bringing it to work. I was the head chef upstairs, downstairs catering. And I bring to work, and then my co-workers asked me to try it, and it was like, oh, it's pretty good. So I didn't believe them. I thought they was pulling my leg. And so I ended up getting in the Madison Makers Fair, and I said I'm gonna pass out samples. If people like it, then I start a business. So 6 years later, people like it. I think our uniqueness is that we have a variety of vegan options. We have burgers to pizza to lasagna roll, gluten-free. Different things like cheese curds that a lot of people who was vegan, that's vegan now but wasn't, but like the cheese curds, and then now they had the opportunity to have different menu items that they didn't have before. With us being vegan, no animal products. We use recyclable products. I'm trying to get a compost thing started, but we have farmers, just everything that's going to relate to help the environment. We all for that.
And you're in a great location for walking and biking too.
Yes. This weekend was the first weekend of farmers market. It was a beautiful day and lots of foot traffic. Yes. Bestseller is the Reuben. People love the Reuben. So that was our #1 seller last year. Also the chicken sandwich. We got a buffalo chicken sandwich The cheese curds is definitely popular. The pizzas is picking up. People are like, I guess they just starting to realize, oh, you sell pizzas. So definitely with the college students, so pizzas is picking up. And we also have our version of the canes. So we have a canes meal with the chicken fingers and coleslaw and Cajun fries. So that's been real popular too since we started that the beginning of this year.
That sounds great. And then where can people find you?
We at 540 State Street, Madison. We right above is Sugar. We open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 to 9, Friday from 11 to 10, and Saturday from noon to 10. And then you can also look at our menu. It's at justveggies.com.
Great. Anything else you want to let people know?
No, just come on down and come visit us, even if you're vegan or not.
That was so exciting to hear about Just Veggies. I know I'm really excited for the cheese curds, and I will definitely be stopping there. And I love pizza, so this is all very exciting news. And just the great to hear about the impact it has and how it connects to our work through Sierra Club. It was so great to hear all about everything. And I just want to share an update too on our fundraising total. We're now up to 9,515. So thank you so much to everyone who's donated so far. So exciting to keep on getting those in. And as we've just traveled the length of our state from Bayfield County down to Dane, this seems like a good time to make a quick stop for another round of trivia. I hope everyone will get back into it. Our next question, on average, how much does Meatless Monday reduce your footprint? And here we go. We've got the poll up. And the options are 8 pounds of carbon per Monday, the equivalent of 348 miles driving a car per year, 133 gallons of water per meal, or all of the above. We've got the answers rolling in. Thank you, everyone who's participating. It's fun to, do these activities together. Getting some more answers. It's looking like almost everyone's pretty sure it's all of the above. We shall see, we shall see. And it looks, just a few more seconds. It looks like we're kind of rolling to a stop with this. I'm going to share the results. Almost 82% we got all of the above. And heck yes, that is the correct answer. If you're in the Madison area, Just Veggies offers meal boxes to help you if you want to try adding Meatless Mondays to your weekly meal rotation as well. So that's something to get excited about. I'm gonna then go back to Amy for the next trivia question.
Cool. All right. We did really well as a group on that one. Let's see what we got for this one. We'll go to question number 4. I see it here on my screen. The air conditioning in the US consumes what percentage of all electricity generated in the country? So we've got a couple options. 2%, 4%, 6%, or 10%.
People are like 6 or 10.
They're going higher. Speaking as a coldy cat, I think we should just cut all air conditioning. Who needs it? Open the windows. It's good. Everyone that gets warm is like, no.
I'm with you on that. I'm like, come on, bring the nice weather. Today's been so nice.
Yep. Windows open today. All right, it looks like the group, I haven't seen any answers. So it looks like the group official answer, consensus with 61% is 10%. And, well, the answer is 6%. So, of course, this is, this is only going to increase as we have warmer and warmer days with our climate change. And certainly like we had earlier in February when it was like almost, 75 degrees here. So, that's why I'm grateful for our next feature. It's sort of a nice transition. We're going to go east from Madison towards West Allis. And here is Jadine Sanada to tell us a little bit about Green Homeowners United.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I had a great time getting to talk with Kevin. We've done a lot of work together over the years, and there's a bunch of overlap between the work that he's doing and that we do at Sierra Club. So our Beyond Fossil Fuels to Clean Energy team is dedicated to shifting Wisconsin's electric sector to clean energy and advocating for just rates and a just transition in that whole process. Right now, some of the big campaigns that we're working on are stopping utilities' attempts to build out new gas infrastructure, which is a really major concern because it is not clean energy like utilities like to say. And we're also really focused, for example, on stopping the proposed Nemadji Trail Energy Center in Superior and WEC Energy Group's proposed massive gas build out in Southeast Wisconsin. We're also really focused on fighting for just electric rates and lower energy burden, particularly in Black and Latinx communities in Milwaukee. And one of the major components of all of this work is decreasing our energy use overall, not just shifting the fuel source. And so I'm really excited to introduce our next feature, which is Green Homeowners United. And they are all about this work. Kevin Kane is the chief economist and co-founder of Green Homeowners United. And I talked to him about their work in helping people make their homes more energy efficient in an affordable way and how all of this fits into the broader energy transition that we're all a part of. So I'm really excited to share this video and for you all to check out the work that they're doing.
We're a residential energy efficiency firm that does insulation, air sealing, energy assessments, windows. Most firms like ours don't have a chief economist, so my job is to guide people through all the various rebates, tax credits, fair financing, and the math of what makes sense in their home. How does this all work? And so we kind of play the role of navigator, helping people through how to best upgrade your home and how to best afford it. And so we're a little unique in that way, but in other ways we are too. We are Green Homeowners United is a woman-owned social enterprise based here locally that hires local workers to become green and union in the residential sector to do the kind of work that has the biggest impact on cutting emissions in homes. It's very rare to have a residential company be union, and it's pretty uncommon for it to be woman-owned.
How do you align with Sierra Club's sustainability goals?
We consider ourselves advocates and organizers as well as contractors because I've spent a long time working in the advocacy organizing world, but we realized that we needed to help create the jobs that would be advancing what we all cared about, a cleaner future, better homes that are more energy efficient. We need to hire workers to do this, and we need to make sure that these are careers that can both support families and all of that. To us, we see this as a way to bring in revenue streams that allow us to advance the cause. So by helping upgrade homes, we can help continue to advocate to improve more homes and more buildings and make the program even better. And so we see us as advancing a Sierra Club and other allies' goals, sustainability goals, by showing how it is possible to do these improvements and to help continue to fund advancing them, but also to help identify where there are deficiencies and how we can make them better by doing it on the ground and sharing our first-person experiences. And so we're very excited to work with Sierra Club, to work with all sorts of other organizations to advance this. Because when I worked in at Citizen Action of Wisconsin, we would meet with people who would say, oh, there's this just transition. We're going to create lots of good jobs in the green, clean energy sector. But I've also heard a lot of people not believing that and being like, well, prove it to me, especially in the union movement. And so we ended up having worlds where the union world and the environmental world didn't always see eye to eye, especially on issues like pipelines. And so we realized the best way to do that was to show that it is in fact possible to create union jobs fighting climate change. And that's what we do. So we want to exemplify that this does not have to be an either or, that you can have family supporting careers fighting climate change and hopefully be the model that others can follow.
And you could take this however you want, take whatever direction you want, but what are your best sellers and where can we find them? So maybe, yeah, what are the most popular kinds of retrofits or efficiency measures or whatever other answer you'd like to provide?
Sure. So at Green Homeowners United, we do a lot of different improvements in the home. It tends to be the things that I think people intuitively get. So insulation, making the house less drafty, putting in new windows. A lot of these things can have a big impact, bigger than new water heaters, bigger than new air conditioners. But I think a lot more people ask for windows than would really help them, for example, as far as bang for the buck. The biggest impact that we tend to have is on insulating and what they call air sealing homes to make them less drafty. A lot of time that means we spend times in attics and in basements. Those tend to have bigger impacts. And I think that last one, basements, is the one that doesn't come to mind as much to people. And so what we actually end up specializing in is energy assessments on homes that guide people through rebates and tax credits and what makes sense. We're really good at that. But also, we really strove to help identify ways to make more affordable and effective insulating of basement walls. All newly built homes in Wisconsin are required to have insulated basements, but that only occurred in about 2010, meaning that every house built before then was not held to that same standard. And as such, it's the biggest worst in most of our homes. Concrete has about as much insulating power as a double pane window, which means that like it is the biggest uninsulated space in most homes. If you ever walked in a basement and you're like, this feels cold and damp, that's exactly what we're talking about. And these new incentives from the Inflation Reduction Act really help encourage people to work on their basement. So if your attic is already done, I'm happy, but let's see it, make sure that I can't see those concrete blocks in your basement either.
Thank you. That's super good to know. I know that I feel that way when I walk into my basement. In the summer, I'm like, this is great, but in the winter, I'm like, this is probably a big issue.
The National Renewable Energy Laboratory calls it the #1 thing that would help the most homes in the state of Wisconsin is insulating basements.
That's really great to know.
Yeah. And the whole reason we got started, and I probably should have mentioned this under the Sierra Club sustainability goals, we got founded because of research by the National Resource Defense Council that showed that upgrading homes to be energy efficient is the single biggest thing society can do to cut emissions. More than making every car an electric vehicle, more than putting a solar panel in every government building. 9 out of 10 homes in this buildings in this country are homes, which means we have no choice but to upgrade old ones. If we are serious about fighting climate change, we cannot build our way out of this. We must upgrade old homes. And that's great, because the people who are often on the lowest rung in our society are the ones that have the most to gain from this. We think that it's possible, and I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going on a tangent, but like there are master electricians, there are master plumbers, there, as of right now, are no master insulators. And that's a shame, because this is the kind of job that like people need to be able to know they can build a career on and be recognized as being on the front lines of fighting climate change. It's not far off in the Arctic, it's right here in your backyard. And so we're trying to not only make the jobs good, but recognize that like these are really important jobs that people should want to do.
That was a great video hearing from Green Homeowners United, and hearing that I do think I need to do some work in my basement, and those, yep, the walls definitely probably need work done. So I know I just learned something in that video. And just to check back in on where we're at with our fundraising goals, I will want to say that the donations continue to roll in, and we are now only $445 from our goal, which is so amazing. Thank you to everyone who are getting in donations. If you haven't already, you can help us reach our goal by making a donation using the link in the chat. And while you do that, I'd like to acknowledge the team that made tonight's event possible. The locally grown team includes chapter co-chairs Don Ferber, Gail Severud, Linda Frank, and of course, my wonderful co-host, Amy Mueller. The videos were edited by Sandy Flitcham Martin. Brooke Bowser designed the recipe book that will be shared with donors after the event. And we also had help from members of the chapter issue teams. And I'd like to introduce one of them now. Deb Martin, a volunteer from the transportation team, will be taking us to Oshkosh next.
Hi, I'm in Oshkosh and a member of our Oshkosh Food Co-op, which started around 2018, so a little before the pandemic hit. I waited to join because I heard about it. They were raising awareness of we need to start a co-op until I found out that it was where it was going to be located. So it's in downtown Oshkosh, about a block from the bus depot, the downtown bus station, and about 2 blocks from the University of Oshkosh in a food desert. There was no grocery stores available in that area. So that seemed like a good place to put one. And then above the store is additional apartments. So again, we need a lot of more housing in our city. So all wins. The other thing I really like about our food co-op is when you'll hear in the talk is really work hard to buy local. I'm on the transportation portion of the Sierra Club, and actually I'm a retired industrial engineer, and I was in the transportation section for Kraft Foods when I was working. So I really know the additional cost of transporting food across the country. So to buy as much as we can in Wisconsin from Wisconsin growers, you can't do that completely by any means, but that is a big focal point of the co-op. So I'm member number 1035, and glad for every time I shop there, but anyone can shop in the co-op. And we do what's called a roundup, and that helps support our shoppers who use WIC or SNAP, because that's also available in the co-op. So it's nice to be a part of this organization and see what we do to help people that maybe don't have good transportation options themselves, because this is close by in a very densely populated area of the city. And also just in considering good health, we do a lot of promotions for people to taste the food, and you know, they have a community room, and that's used a lot by different organizations too, in a really helpful way. So you're going to hear from Jeremiah McDuffie is currently the manager at the co-op.
Hi there, I'm Jeremiah with the Oshkosh Food Co-op, and I wanted to introduce you to some of our wonderful, locally, sustainably grown things right here in Wisconsin. We have the organic living butter lettuce and salad kits from Superior Fresh. And one of the things I love about this is it's a national brand. There's all kinds of salad kits that are out there, but these are grown in Wisconsin, so we really seek to make all of our salad kit section Wisconsin grown. We cut down on emissions, we support the local economy, and they are absolutely wonderful. So why wouldn't we focus right there? And then we don't just stop, obviously, at salad kits. All along our produce section, you'll find items from right here in Wisconsin, like Ernesi Farms herbs. These are some of the best herbs on the market, and again, locally grown. So all the benefits that we talked about with the salad kits, we now have with our herbs, fresh herbs grown right here locally to our guests, and they are just delightful. And so we're going to walk around produce a little bit more, but I wanted to start there because they are, I think, a backbone of what we do here. we were to look over here in our potato section, one of the things that we sought to do almost right away in the last 6 months was to make it where we had all locally grown potatoes. And you can see there's the state of Wisconsin. And so here our whole organic section, and then over we also carry some conventional potatoes. And a lot of people don't know this, but your Crazy Fresh brand is grown in Wisconsin. And so we make sure that all the potatoes we grow from one end to the that we sell we don't grow them here, but all the potatoes that we sell from one end to the other are grown in Wisconsin. And we try to make sure we do that 100% of the time of the year. There might be an occasional time where we bump into Minnesota, but we do that, again, for sustainability, not just about what's grown here, but again, we talk about transportation and trucking and things of that nature. And then when we know that this was grown probably by one of your neighbors, you very well could have bumped into this person who grew these potatoes. And I think that's just a wonderful marker of the co-op, is that we seek to always make sure that we are supporting the local economy. If we're gonna highlight one other local vendor, it would be Olden Organics. It's a wonderful organic farm right here in the area, and they do wonderful things. Things that you wouldn't necessarily find in your common market. And this is a moon radish by Olden Organics, so you know it is grown sustainably, grown without any pesticides, things of that nature. You can feel really good about putting it in your body, but it's also just a really wonderful, unique radish that you're not gonna find anywhere else. And then of course they do all of our cut veggies. So they do a wonderful job on their cut veggies, things like zoodles. If you just don't like cutting onions, whatever it is, Olden Organics is absolutely premium when it comes to the cut veggies, and people love them. If I were gonna tell you to buy anything else from our local section, it would probably be, we just started carrying these supercharged foods, and this whole line, again, grown locally right here in Wisconsin, is a microgreen line. And so they really have done a wonderful job with sunflower shoots, pea shoots, brassica mix. They have mild mix, really a wide range. A wonderful line that, again, locally you can only find here, but they are grown locally. So not transported from somewhere else in the country, but grown right here in Wisconsin. So you're supporting the local economy and putting something you can feel really, really good. Grown sustainably, grown organically for you, for your health, for the economy, for the greater good of Wisconsin.
Cool. That was awesome to see. His enthusiasm is contagious. Love that. And appreciate that information. Thank you so much to Deb and team on that. I have already procured some Olden organic guacamole already for Cinco de Mayo this weekend. So I got the sneak peek at the video and I supplied accordingly. So thank you for that. Well, we've seen a ton of really good spotlights so far, but I would be remiss if we did not cap the night off with my wildlife team, which is my absolute passion and just the reason for why I am so engaged with everything that we do. So with that, I get to introduce you to my friend and just absolutely dynamite wildlife volunteer, Dana Herman. She's going to take us back up to northern Wisconsin, where we can have our final stop for the night.
Hi everyone, my name is Dana and I'm part of the wildlife team. I live up here in Northwest Wisconsin in beautiful Washburn County, and I absolutely love being part of the wildlife team. We work to promote responsible coexistence for all wildlife, but we focus especially on wolves and beavers. Over the past several years, we've been working hard to support non-lethal options to reduce wolf livestock conflicts. And the good news is that wolf-related conflict for farmers is actually very low. In fact, the most recent report from the Wisconsin DNR states that only 18 Wisconsin farms had a wolf-related conflict confirmed, and we know how to help reduce those conflicts. The data shows that the best way to avoid a problem with wolves is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Knowing this, we have advocated for funding to help increase the work the DNR does currently for non-lethal predator prevention. We have written resolutions for the Wisconsin Conservation Congress, and we work closely with the DNR to support best practices and spread awareness. One of the most effective ways to keep wolves away from your farm is to use livestock guardian dogs. And that is where our spotlight will be tonight, and these dogs are truly amazing. We are pleased to introduce you to Mary Falk of Love Tree Farmstead Cheese in Grantsburg, Wisconsin, located in Burnett County. With the help of guardian livestock dogs to keep their sheep, goats, and cows safe, Love Tree Farm produces organic artisan cheeses, bringing European-style cheeses to Wisconsin and Minnesota. This farm is truly committed to living in balance with their natural community, including wolves and coyotes. And now let's hear more about this wonderful farm from Mary herself.
I bought this place in 1986. I met my husband a year later, and over the last 37 years, we've added immediate parcels to the farm. So it went from an 80-acre up to 200-acre farm. And I was originally in news talk radio, and my health was really at risk. I'm asthmatic, and everybody at that time smoked in the stations. So I basically could not go back to that work scenario. So I needed to do something at home, and we had some sheep, and Dave worked silo construction, and he hated it. And I came up with this brainiac idea. We live in Wisconsin, let's make cheese. So, and with the sheep, it didn't take us long to realize we really need something to help protect them. Because the first attack we had on our sheep was an Irish setter from tourists that had come out. They'd come up on the weekends and turn their dogs loose, and then, livestock would get injured, things like that. So then we heard about livestock guardian dogs, and one thing led to another, and we got a couple, and we started to slowly expand and added the goats, the sheep, and the cattle. So we have a herd of about 8 right now in the way of cows, and they're a cross of Scottish Highlander and Normandy. They don't make a lot of milk. They make really rich milk, and they make the best use of our surroundings. And it was a real evolution of sorts. We just wanted to graze what was there. Everybody kept telling us we needed to seed in this, seed in that, seed in whatever. And one little old man told us, he said, you want to graze what's in your roadside ditches. So, the natural flora. So we went with that attitude, and that's funny how that just evolves into everything else. So we're grazing on the natural flora. Let's leave this area alone, and let's let this come back up wild. So out of 200 acres, over 100 is now dedicated as a wildlife refuge. When we first started, there was 50. So we just saw what was happening, the changing on the farm. The previous person had leased out the farmland, and it was farmed so drastically, no inputs, that when you walked across the hills, your knees hurt because there was no topsoil. It was just, ugh. So it was like, how can we regenerate this land? And so as we started to regenerate the land, other things started arriving. More deer were there. The trumpeter swans came in. We now have sandhill cranes. We have river otters, all that stuff. And with that, when you have wildlife, along comes the predators, because we're on a wildlife corridor that goes out to the St. Croix River. So it's all this new wildlife, and the predators follow them. So, we amped up our dogs. Well, I think the use of the guardian dogs is huge. I mean, the guard dogs, they're amazing animals to begin with. Some people have accused us of being mean because the dogs are outside 365 days a year, but they're offered housing. They have housing and they'll choose to not go into the housing. These are some really, tough creatures. They love being outside. And if you lock them up, they freak out. But, they have dog houses, they have barns they can go in and out of. Their favorite is on top of a round bale of hay or inside of a round bale of hay. They're pretty fun. But I think that's the biggest part. Also, the way we manage our flocks. We intentionally don't let anything go into the woods until nesting season is done and animals are migrating out. Because we will go through and do a cleanup of the livestock to try and go after buckthorn and stuff like that. But it's all about everything we do is how it affects the wildlife, our livestock, and the water. So that's our main goals on the farm. They all work hand in hand. Well, we have a variety. We have the raw milk cheeses, which are a big seller, but a lot of the younger crowd have never been to Europe, so it's hard for them to understand the concentration of flavor that our cheeses have, because they're cave aged, so they're aged on cedar boards in our underground aging cave, and we evaporate out the water and concentrate the flavors. So a little goes a long ways, but there's this huge complexity of flavor. So our older customers or people that have traveled, those are their favorites. Otherwise, our mainstays are our pasteurized cheeses. We have fresh goat cheese. Some have crushed juniper berries and peppercorn on the outside. Some have our proprietary herbal blend on the outside. And then there's one that we lightly dust with meadow hay ash, and people love those. And then also the #1 bestseller for everyday fare is our pressed ricotta. And if you were in Europe and you had a ricotta salata, it's similar, but it's not as salty. I primarily sell at the St. Paul Farmers Market on Saturdays. Starting in May, we'll be there on Sundays too.
All right. What an incredible way to end our evening. It's just so cool to see the unique things that people are doing to live and coexist on the landscape and still be successful in their business. She makes some incredibly very foodie cheeses. If you're interested, she also sells online. So just a shout out to that. And then I think we have more good news. I've been feverishly refreshing the Team Sierra page. But last I checked, I think we were only maybe about $20 from making our goal. And so I don't know if Jacinda or anyone on the team can confirm, but if we make our goal, breaking news, I will let you know. But while we're tabulating, or maybe people are just finishing up the last of their transactions, because I know it takes a minute, we just want to say, it's looking good.
Yeah, but last check, we were at 9,979, so just $21 away. And Don Ferber has promised to donate an additional $100. So right now we're so close to that $10,000 goal, or we get an extra 100 from Don or anyone else who wants to share any extra. So please get in any last donations. Oh, wait, I just refreshed. We hit 10,000. Yay! Thank you, everyone. So exciting. So much appreciation. But there's still time to donate if you'd like. The Team Sierra page will remain open, and all donors, of course, will receive the amazing recipe book.
Wow, that's a very exciting and dramatic way to end the evening there. I'm so proud of everyone, and thank you all for your time, energy, effort, and all the things that you do to give back and make the world a brighter place. Just again, the positivity amongst this community is so important to keep us doing what we do in terms of our activism. So thank you for joining us tonight in our adventure all over the state of Wisconsin. And with that, I will say thank you, and thank you to my wonderful co-host here, Megan, and to all the Sierra Club staff and team that made this possible. So good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you all for being here.